There, now I'm recording. So, big picture, it's very valuable to be in this course no matter whether you're going into small business or whether you are going into a larger business. And then we talked a little bit about my background. So now the recording can hear that. We'll go on with where I was in the lecture. The second company, right after I did my MBA at UCLA, it was the height of the dot-com boom, dot-com 1.0, and I had the opportunity to go to Hamburg, Germany, and be the head of record label relations for amusic.com. So that was Doc 11. It was a fun ride. At that time, there was a lot of venture capital money available for internet music companies, for internet companies of all kinds. And I got there in April. The company started about 6 months before I got there. We had about $4 million of investors' capital that we burned through in a year. The market went down. The bubble burst. There was no more funding for the second round, and we were all out of work by Christmas. It was a ride of a year and a half that was an incredible amount of fun, and it ended way too soon. But that's the way it went for a lot of dot-coms in 2000. After that company, after that I actually worked in larger companies for a while, and then started my own music licensing and event booking company. So I would basically negotiate contracts between record labels in Europe and distributors, concert venues, so forth in Brazil, which is where my ex-wife is from. It's where I moved to after I was in Germany. So that was the third business. The fourth business was market driver consulting, which was third-party outsourced sales work. How many people in here like making cold calls? Yeah, you know what cold calls are, right? Who knows what a cold call is? Okay, no wonder nobody likes it because you don't know what it is. What's a cold call?
Calling people trying to get their business.
Yeah. So picking up the phone and calling strangers is vital for any business to try and develop new business, but most people don't like doing that. I've always been pretty comfortable doing it, so I started a company where we would charge people an upfront service fee. They'd pay us couple $1,000. We would pick up the phone and make phone calls, and we would hand them a list of people who agreed to talk to them. So, third-party outsourced sales work. Those are the four main companies that I ran in small business. In bigger companies, like I said, I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers for a while. For about half the time that I was there, I was working on developing new business proposals. So basically, we would go out and develop a proposal for different government agencies in Washington, D.C. to do implementation work for them. And doing that business development work was a whole lot like running a small business. There were about 10 of us that worked on it. We needed to know what our budget for stuff was, what our revenue goals were, and so forth. It was very much like running a small business. After that, after I left the dot-com company, I was with a company called Bertelsmann Book and Music Club, which is basically the German equivalent of Columbia House Records. It was a club where people would join the club, agree to buy a certain number of CDs or books each year, and then we would give them discount prices and special deals and so forth in exchange for the contract that they signed. I was doing new product development within that setting. So new product development in a larger company like a book and music club also is a lot like running a small business. Sony Music Entertainment, which is where I went to right after Bertelsmann. Basically, I was in charge of licensing music for Germany. So there were 4 people on my team. Once again, we had to be cognizant of our budget and our revenues, and a lot like running a small business. And then finally, at Robert Half, the headhunting company I worked for, I basically was an account executive responsible for building a book of business, which is also very much like running a small business. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. What that generates for you guys in particular is a really large contact network. I've got about 10,000 people in my Outlook folder. I'm trying to migrate as many of those as I can over to LinkedIn. You'll see why next week when we talk about LinkedIn more. I've also got access to some nice alumni networks, and lastly but not least, the CSUB alumni network, which all of you guys have access to as well, which is very important in these parts of the woods. Talking a little bit about building a professional image, which we're going to go into in more detail next week. How many people in here already had a LinkedIn profile before this class? Okay, so a little less than half. How many of you that did have one used it really heavily? Okay, so not too many. Although the biggest element of this class is implementation project work, the second biggest part of it is crafting your image as a small business professional or as an intrapreneur in a bigger business. Wherever you want to go with your career, we're going to spend a chunk of time in this class crafting your image on LinkedIn to go in that direction. I'll talk more about that next week. But just a couple of things about that now. Your positioning statement is really, really important in LinkedIn. Whatever it is that you want to portray yourself as, there's an opportunity to put a summary at the beginning of your LinkedIn profile that really keys people in on whether you are a finance professional or a banking professional or a small business management professional, a fashion industry professional, a music business professional. Whatever it is, there's a great opportunity in LinkedIn to really tailor what it is that you represent as a professional. There's also an opportunity to really go beyond your work experience and leverage the work that you've done in your classes to really portray your skills in a more robust way than what's possible with just your work experience right now. Duties versus accomplishments. The thing that I'm really going to stress in this class is describing in concrete terms what you've accomplished in your job. So putting numbers to things. How many customers do you interact with? How much dollar value are you responsible for? How much money comes in through you on a regular basis, etc. And then finally, we'll talk about the importance of polish and attention to detail. Talking about setting goals and working a network. This is the second half of what we'll talk about next week. I asked you guys all to fill out those professional development plans because regardless of what class I teach here at Cal State, whether it's small business management or senior seminar or entrepreneurship, my goal is always to ask you basically, what's your job now and what job do you want to have when you leave here? Like, if I'm doing my job, then you are getting the job you want by the time you leave this institution. So critically important to me is just to know, what are you doing now and where do you want to get to after you graduate? And corollary to that is, how much money do you make right now and how much money do you need to make for your goals in life? And a lot of times, if you really sit down and think about it, the job that you're targeting after graduation is not going to make you enough money to reach the goals that you have in life. So that's okay. It's not normal that the job that you get right after undergrad is going to pay the dreams of everything you had in life. But it's important to keep your eye on the prize and realize, okay, this is how much money I eventually need to make if I'm going to have the life that I want to have. And I want to make sure that each of you are focused on where you need to get long term, in addition to what you're doing right now and where you want to get to immediately after graduation. And then finally, when it comes to working in network, which we're going to talk about next week, the rule of 10 is something that I believe in, like, almost religiously. If you want something good to happen, you need 10 options. You need 10 irons in the fire if you want one thing to work out. So if you want to get a job in a bank, you need 10 applications out to banks. If you want to land a new customer for your business, you need 10 leads of customers that you're talking to. It never fails. If you have 10 things that might go right, one of them usually does. If you have 2 or 3, a lot of times nothing goes right and you're stuck with Zippo. So I'm a big proponent of having, I mean, whether it's 9 or 11 or 15 or 8, I'm just superstitious about number 10. But the point here is you need multiple options, multiple irons in the fire if you want a new customer to work out, if you want a new job to work out. So we will focus on that over the course of this semester. The 8 skill sets that I'm going to teach you, that I'm going to then test you on, that I want you to have mastery of by the time you leave this class. First of them, like I talked about last time a little bit, is web development. It's relatively easy to do. I forget, how many people in here have, like, advanced web development skills already? Nobody. How many have, like, done some web development or some website development? Okay. It's really pretty easy to do, and it's absolutely critical for any small business these days to be able to quickly and professionally put up an image of your company online. So that's the very first thing that we'll dive in on in this course. After that, we'll talk a little bit about the process of developing new products and new services. And in particular, I will give you some skill sets on how to do patent and trademark and copyright searches and how to file that paperwork. Customer acquisition and guerrilla marketing. It's incredible. No small business is going to go anywhere without customers and without a way to market cheaply and effectively to those customers. So the next skill that is critically important in here is customer acquisition, and particularly guerrilla marketing. What I mean by guerrilla marketing is marketing that you can do basically for free. Very cheap, usually using different types of viral methods, whether it's word of mouth or social media or whatever. The third skill set that we're going to focus on in here is guerrilla marketing and how to acquire new customers. Fourth, competitive research. There's a number of tricks and databases that you can use to find information on small. It's pretty easy to find information on big companies, but it's really hard to find information on small private competitors because they're private. They don't have to publish any of their information. But there are some ways to find out information about small competitors who are usually going to be your main competitors in small business, and we'll spend some time talking about that. We have great databases here at Cal State for industry research, and I'm going to give you guys kind of a crash course tutorial on how to use them. Great factoids about whatever industry it is that your small business is in. I was, like I said, I was in the music business for a long time, and every time I read these industry reports about the music business, about the media and entertainment business, I learned something that I never knew before. And I'm pretty expert at the music business, and it's always interesting to read new factoids, new trends that are coming up in the market. We'll cover that as well. We'll also cover a whole bunch of stuff that's sort of the back office functions of the day-to-day management of a small business. So management techniques, operations issues, human resources, especially how to put together and negotiate contracts, some basic information about legal services and how to deal with the basic legal needs that your company has for little or no money without having to pay for expensive lawyers. All of that. We'll have a healthy dose of HR in there too, and how to find the right types of people for your company. Finally, accounting and financial analysis. How many people in here are accounting focused in one way or another? Okay, so that'll definitely be valuable because nobody in here is particularly accounting focused. I will give you a crash course in accounting and finance, so everything you need to know to be able to manage the finances of a small business. And then finally, capital and resource acquisition. The final thing we'll talk about is how to go out and find grant money, find investors, find bank loans to finance the business. So those are kind of the 8 skill sets that we're going to go over in this course. That's a little bit about my background. That's a little bit about how important LinkedIn is, and a little bit about why I had you fill out the professional development form and what I'm trying to accomplish in helping you with your career goals. The last slide here I have for the day, and like I said, it's a little bit short of a lecture again today, is enduring the roller coaster of implementation. It's a relatively simple slide, but it's probably the most complex thing, and the thing that is going to make the biggest difference in whether you get an A, a B, or a C in this class is how well do you endure this roller coaster. So, like I said in the first class, I expect you guys to form groups in here. I expect you to find a small business to do a project for, and I expect you to do a number of things like web development and customer analysis and competition analysis for that company. How many people have a company in mind already right now? Okay, problem number 1. For those of you who didn't have your hand up, that's the first problem to overcome, is either to join one of the other groups here, or if there's too many people, because 7 is the max that I want to have in a group, you need to go out and find a company. Now, I can help a little bit with that, but you need to exercise initiative and tell me the kind of company you'd like to do a project for, the kind of business that you'd like to be working on, and then we can go find that together. But overcoming problems, both initially in finding a company, and then in dealing with, how do I find this information? How do I find a customer to talk to? How do I find a decent expert advice contact? Finding ways to solve those problems is the nature of small business. If you don't find a way to solve problems, you don't accomplish your goals, you don't make money, and you don't survive. The second thing, dealing with rejection and isolation. I guarantee you that some of the companies that you reach out to and might want to do a project for are going to say, no, don't bother me. It's just the way it happens. And there's going to come a time where you feel like, why in the hell am I doing this? I'm the only person that cares about this, and I'm wasting my time. You're not wasting your time. That is a feeling that every small business professional has to get through, and you just have to have faith that you're doing the right thing, and you have to persevere. So, both in finding a company to do your project for, as well as finding customers to interview, finding expert advice contacts, you're going to reach out to some people and they're not going to respond. And you can't take it personally. You just have to keep trying the next person and trying the next person until you achieve the goals that we've set for these projects. You're going to have to adjust on the fly. It may be that the original goal of the project was, I think I talked about this a little bit on Monday, but one of the companies I have in mind is like fitness training and kinesiology kind of company, and they wanted to do a marketing plan. So they may, or the project may originally be marketing to all over the state of California, to all kinds of customer segments, and you may find over the course of the semester that that's just too much, and you need to adjust to doing, the goal is to acquire 20 new customers in Bakersfield and 5 new customers in the rest of Kern County. Maybe that's a more realistic goal, but you're going to have to make those kind of adjustments over the course of the semester. And when you originally thought you were going to be doing one thing, you're going to have to adjust and reset goals along the way. And then finally, you're going to need to persevere to create value. So that's at the end of the day, no matter what. No matter what project you're working on, no matter what the original goal is, at the end of this course, I want each of you to have created something valuable for the company that you're working for. And that sometimes entails sort of slicing a larger deliverable, just like I talked about of adjusting on the fly, into something smaller and more achievable. So that is going to be a big part of this course. It's only about half past right now. I'm curious. That's all I had to go over today. I'm curious, for those of you who did raise your hands, I'm psyched to start making a list of what businesses we're thinking about doing projects for. Let me grab a marker here quick. Okay, let me see those hands again of somebody that has a company in mind. What did you have in mind?
So I work at a substance use disorder outpatient facility here in Bakersfield, and we are expanding. I've already brought this to the president of our company, and he is willing. But one of the things he's kind of adamant about is, so if anybody's really interested in going into like hospital administration, medical field, anything like that, this would be a good thing to kind of jump on.
Okay. Where's the next hand?
Just plants.
kind of restaurant?
It's just a family restaurant that we have when we're in search of like a second business, not in Bakersfield, but in like the Lamont area.
Uh-huh.
Just like designing or that was perfectly available.
And does the restaurant already exist?
Yeah, it's already
Okay.
existed, so we just tried to look for a second business, so a second place to actually open.
So Lamont would be the second location or the first location?
That would be the second.
Okay, first location's here in Bakersfield?
It's actually in Arden.
Okay.
So it's, everything else is pretty much all done.
Cool. Who's next? Derica.
I was looking into doing a family business, my dad's construction business, or he has a nonprofit organization. It's like it's kind of like a halfway house. It's New Life Recovery Center.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Who's next? Yes.
I work for a construction company that does a subdivision of alarm systems.
Uh-huh.
They don't have a website.
So construction company alarm systems.
Yeah.
Who else? Did I see other hands? Okay, let me add a couple to this that I know of already. Omar, who was here the other day but is not here now, he was sitting where you're sitting. What's your name? Fahad. 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 There was a guy named Omar sitting where you were sitting last time. He has a really cool project he's working on right now. I hope he's still going to be in the class. On drones for agriculture. There's another engineering student that I know of who's working on smart irrigation, which is basically, so the drones for agriculture thing, you guys know what drones are. So Omar is developing solar-powered drones that can fly over agricultural fields and take pictures of how the crops are doing. It saves a lot of time of sending people out in the fields to monitor the crops. The Smart Irrigation Project is basically taking computer software. Yes?
Can I use shout?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll let you describe Shout in a second. So the Smart Irrigation Project is basically using computer software to automate all of the decisions, or as many of the decisions as possible, of when do you use water in a large agricultural setting. So is there, we've had a lot of rain lately, so you don't need to water anymore when it's raining. But sometimes not just the obvious stuff, but taking a look at the amount of water in the soil at different levels and deciding whether there needs to be more water or not. It's sort of a software-hardware combination. Joe, tell us about Shout.
All right, Shout is a short-term residential therapeutic program. It's also known as a group home. Basically, we get kids from the county that are taken away from their parents for some reason, and we have to house them. We have to give them 24-hour care, and we try to either move them into a new family or get them back with their current family. And we also have vocational support too. So the older kids we get from 18 to 21, we try to move them into a job, an apartment, and get them self-sufficient. Basically.
Yep. It's a cool venture. Couple more. I had some students that were working last semester on on a software application for a company called for you guys in the 24-hour fitness. It's not specifically for 24-hour fitness. I have a good buddy who does IT development for 24-hour fitness, and he came up with the idea of an app which is going to, which helps to track facilities maintenance issues. So if this board were not coming down and we can't figure out why, it seems like a relatively simple task, but just taking a picture of, oh look, it's stuck here, and taking a picture of what I tried to do with the buttons, and then forwarding that to the facilities people, and then having a database which tracks, okay, this person is assigned to the task, they came at this hour, they've resolved it, they fixed it. Just being able to do that with all the different equipment that they have at 24 Hour Fitness, all the heating, the locker rooms, etc., at all their various facilities, being able to efficiently manage that is a project that was really interesting for him. So that's another one that I'd like to throw into the hopper. And there's two more. Tejon Ranch Conservancy and Edible Garden. So I also had some students last semester working on a project for the Tejon Ranch Conservancy. How many people in here know the name Tejon Ranch? Do you know what it does? No, you just know the name. So Tejon Ranch is a private company that owns real estate, a lot of real estate in the Grapevine and the Tehachapi Mountains, and they develop the real estate. They use some of it for agriculture. They use other for like outlet malls and stuff like that. But they also have a large nature preserve called the Tejon Ranch Conservancy. It's a huge number of acres that are a nature preserve up in the Tehachapi Mountains. And they're very interested in developing a software app that helps them to share the information about this place better. So they want to do better marketing of the Conservancy so that the next time I do this class and I ask, who's heard of the Tejon Ranch Conservancy, somebody raises their hand. That nobody knows about it right now, and they're really interested to do some more marketing for that. Edible Garden, like I talked about. Oh, I forgot. Kinesiology company. So, how many people in here have heard that we're building an edible garden on campus?
What?
An edible garden. A food garden on campus. We are. The project has had some fits and starts, but depending on where the project is at this point, we can throw that into the hopper as well. And then finally, like I talked about, there's a fitness and kinesiology company that like to do a marketing plan that I've talked with. So that's our short list of projects right now. If you are interested in something outside of that list, please tell me what you think it is, okay? I would love to have more ideas. Oh, look, we're almost up to time. I'd love to have more ideas. This is the short list right now. I'm going to take a pic. That's a good idea. I'm going to take a picture of it too. Think about whether which of these projects you might be interested in, or if you don't find anything interesting there, what would you be interested in doing a project on? And we'll talk more about that next week and the week after. That's all I got for today. I'll see you guys on Friday. Yes.
For these projects, you're talking about like software development and stuff like that. Do we have to know how to do all that? Or
No.
no? Okay, then I was wondering because I'm like, I don't know how to do any of that.
No, we have. I had software students last semester from NSM&E
Okay.
that were working on the project. They may or may not be available. If they're not, one of our things we have to do is go out and find more developers.
Okay. All right then. I was just wondering. Thank you.
No problem.
So since all those ones are from last semester, can I do mine from last semester? That's an app.
Yes. No, I know. Probably.
Okay.
It depends on whether Vikash, right?
Yeah,
It depends on whether Vikash is up for the challenge.
he will be.
Okay. Well,
He's a cool guy.
you got to motivate him to
Okay,
like
he's
be
nice.
down
I
for it.
can
Okay.
All right.
No problem. Who's next?
I was curious on the kinase. What company is that?
I can't remember, but I can tell you next week.
Okay. And then what was it to Home Ranch? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, they're basically
Marketing.
they're building a mobile app which allows people to look at like all the different flowers that they have, and it's a nature preserve. So they got a bunch of kinds of different kinds of flowers and wildlife, and they want people to be able to like scroll through and like take a look at look. If I look on the map, there's kit foxes here, and there's like wildflowers over here. They're trying to display it all in a mobile app. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Who's next?
Yes, I would love to add the class.
Okay.
Yeah, and I still need to, like, clear it with my dad to see if I can do it. But, yeah, I don't have a project. I'm not doing Baywatch, it would be,
It's Wednesday and Friday.
What's that?
It is Wednesday and Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay.
There you go. You just have to find the course number, okay?
Thank you so much.
No problem. Ah,
just need this signed. Do I have to give that to
I thought you had to get the like. I thought you had to get like a prereq.
I do. That's why I guess what
Approval
that is
form.
for.
This?
Yeah, that's what the counselor gave me. I think they just kind of give you papers and tell you, like, get out their face. That's how they've been lately.
No, that one from like switch class.
To switch.
A small one, yeah.
See, I asked her too. I was like, this is it.
Here, let me do this.
Send the big sheet.
Okay. Thanks. Dr. Lori Paris already knows that I need to do. I spoke with her right before I came to class, so if that's what they give her, she knows that she needs to approve it soon.
So, mostly when it comes to customers that we wouldn't be interviewing people who are actually seeking service, but we're more interviewing doctors or talking to doctors or other clinics and facilities for those work. So I was kind of putting.
Thank you.
Try that. There's a different form. It's a 8.5 by 11 like that, and it says like
what I thought.
it's
I was
okay to like to waive the prereq.
Yeah, because I was like, this is it. She's like, yeah, all right, see you later.
Well,
I was like,
if they'll accept that, I signed it, but it's actually not the normal form.
I thought so. Thank you.
No problem. Who's next?
I wanted to get signed for Open University.
Sure.
If I could stay in class.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. What's your name? Jim Alfonso, what's your name? And I didn't catch it. That's right. That's one I haven't heard. All right. Yeah, absolutely. And so feel free to contact me, text and email, all of that's fine. So, yeah. And,
Thank you.
No problem.
Sorry, the advisor she just added me to the class.
Uh-huh.
I've been here like 42 days, and I missed one day. Should I like is the I slipped in Blackboard? Like I can't find it in Blackboard.
The ad slip?
No, the ad slip. Sorry, the syllabus.
Yes, the syllabus is in Blackboard, and here, write your. Put your name and email on here. Uh huh.
We join a group, like we don't put us in.
No, you join one. I mean, if nobody is joining groups, then I will put you in groups, but I prefer if you just join them.
Okay. Second question is the email that you sent. We're supposed to print that out and bring it to you, or we're just supposed to email it back?
Oh no, just email it back.
Oh, okay.
The professional development plan, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just email it.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem. So your supervisor said yeah?
Yep.
Cool.
I talked to my president when I went in, and I'm meeting with so we hired somebody to kind of run the point, and he's coming in today to do all the employee paperwork, so I'm going to him to try to figure out, at least for right now, the gentleman who will be joining me, how they can meet the requirements for the grade, and then I might have to do, I think our website is going to be already developed, but more like flyers, marketing materials, brochures, things like that would probably be what I would work on, and then have them sort of create a parallel or a template or something like that. So everything should work. I sat down and talked to him, and he was super willing to.
Cool. Sounds good.
So,
I'm excited.
Yeah. I will see you on Friday.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, double R.
Okay, Almaty.
Yeah.
Okay, Rashad, cool. I will email you about the syllabus and Blackboard, but yeah, you can find the syllabus in Blackboard, and you can find recording of Monday's lecture as well.
Ah, that's cool. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
How's it going?
Good. And then actually I have an idea, but it's not like that kinds of project. They're already set it up, and then I'm idea.
What is it?
Internet museum.
Okay.
Actually, I went to the MoMA. It's a museum at the New York.
In New York, yeah.
And I found that there are a lot of the picture and then painting, like kinds of it. And then I also know about there's a lot of the artists in the world, and they said, but they don't have any posts. They just post themselves, like per social network like that. So I'm gonna make an internet site, and then the artists send us their creature or pieces or work art like that, and then we made it together, and then we have a subject. So we post it weekly or monthly, and then audience or people watch our website and they read information, and then they can connect with the artist by itself.
I like it.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
And then they can buy a postcard or t-shirt, kinds of souvenir. They also have a souvenir shop after watching MoMA. There's a lot of big souvenir shop, and then some portion of benefit will give